Boys and girls, uh, we might be up for a little hard truth tonight on STP because this is Stir the Pot with Don Kincaid, and our very special guest is one cold hard truth, Johnny Pierce. Welcome to the show, my friend. I appreciate you and your time.
Thank you for having me. You know what they say, third time's the charm. I think this is my third go around now here on STP.
It is, and please forgive me. I only thought this was going to be the second time, but I did a little look see. April 2000 or August 2022 and April of 2023.
Yeah.
So we've had for the past couple years one cold hard truth kind of right in front of us on STP because I don't get to see you in the ring live as much as I would like to because you're way the fuck up there and I'm way the fuck down here. So there's the locale difference. But I have been watching from afar on your face page and such, excuse me, the evolution of one cold hard truth. So let's start off. Uh, how is one Johnny Pierce this evening?
I'm doing great. It's Labor Day. Didn't have
It is
to
Labor Day.
have to go to work, but I usually don't work on Mondays. Today's a good day to kind of just relax and unwind from the weekend and be able to do things like join you on this podcast. So I'm doing
Excellent.
great. How you
Wow.
doing?
I'm actually doing fine. I did labor today for some, a few hours there, but I was kind of excited to get JP back on because, as I was saying, I've been watching from a distance the evolution of one Johnny Pierce. I mean, you're still cold hard truth. That hasn't changed. You're a big giant dude. That hasn't changed. Uh, you're usually in a kind of a bad mood, but today you're in a good mood. So that's kind of a little switcheroo. Um,
I'll speak on it. You can grill me about it. I'll speak on it, but yeah.
Hey, if you're around a grill and you've got some burgers, dogs, chicken, or whatever grilling, you make JP a happy man. You make him.
I can't throw it back.
So Johnny Pierce, for those that don't know of you, could you give us in a little quick nutshell because it's been a couple years and again you're not in my area, so the peeps that know me might not know Johnny Pierce, and the peeps that know Johnny Pierce not might know myself. So in a little nutshell, give us how long you've been in the biz and what's the cold hard truth about. Tell us what the cold hard truth means or if there's a background about it, and just give us a little nutshell of one cold hard truth, Johnny Pierce, if you could please.
So I've been in the business for 7.5, going on 8 years.
Okay.
Only been really actively wrestling consistently for a little over 2 years now. That's why most people, when they see me or hear of me, they think that I'm like a brand new guy, and that's okay. But yeah, I've been in since 2017. The the name and what it means to be Cold Hard Truth, Johnny Pierce, it just stems from growing up and putting your faith in people's words, and then finding out that actions speak a lot louder than words. So coming up in wrestling, you're told certain things. You're gonna be this, you're gonna be that. I'm gonna get you signed. I'm gonna do this with your career. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna teach you. I'm gonna mold you. This, that, and the third. And liars and me just don't mix. I was being lied to here, lied to there. White lies, big lies, small lies. And when I was given the task of coming up with a character, I figured, why don't I just lean into this? It seemed like everywhere I was turning, people were lying to me. So I was like, okay, well, I don't like being lied to, and I don't like liars, and they make me angry. And I was like, okay, well, what if my character was a truth seeker? He was constantly trying to find anyone who would be willing just to tell him what the truth of the matter was. And so I came up with the name Johnny Pierce, which is a little bit of my shoot name mixed with a little bit of my basketball background, being a Boston Celtics fan and rooting for Paul Pierce. So he was the truth. I would call myself the cold hard truth to get around that, to get around Ron the Truth killings. And he's just basically a big bully who doesn't trust anybody because he thinks they're going to lie to him before they even have a chance to. He's not trusting them. So
Uh, Stone cold. Don't trust anybody. One of those kind of
cold
deals. Yeah.
world, right? Cold world. It's a hard world. So his journey is trying to find the people that will tell him the truth, and good luck finding those people.
Yeah. I find the correlation. You could relate to the everyday man, if you will, with
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
that background, if you could.
yep.
Does that kind of correlate to a little bit of the real JP? The shoot JP, and you're just kind of amping it up, as they say, turning it up to 11 for wrestling, or
A little.
a little.
I would
Okay.
shoot JP. While I do have trust issues and whatnot, no, you can't really hold people accountable to your standards. You have to just kind of meet people where they're at. And I'm learning that as I get older.
Okay.
Growing up, it was kind of hard because whether you with your friends, you have expectations for your friends, and like, oh, I'm putting so much effort into this friendship, and then it's not reciprocated. But as I've gotten older, you just have to meet people where they're at, realize that not everybody's going to put as much effort and energy into something that you're going to.
Yeah. No. Again, I can relate. I mean, you have a very relatable character, if you will, in your presentation. Um, you've mentioned you've been around for about 8, but actively, only for a couple right now.
Yeah,
Um, Athletes set goals for themselves, and I know it's been kind of maybe a rocky road for one JP, but at this point in these past couple years, how do you feel? You're um, in ring and your character and connecting with the fans and everything. How are you feeling right now, as in your career at this point?
when you think about the goals that I've set for myself, um, I'm not trying to sound braggadocious, but I've pretty much smashed them all.
Ooh.
Um, I know that I have certain weak points and weaknesses that I need to work on, and I'm going to be doing that. Um, but in terms of like certain goals you set for yourself, it's like, okay, I want to. I remember one of them specifically. We probably talked about on a previous podcast episode. I had wanted to have a match as this new character before my maybe like 30th birthday or something, and I did that like a month ahead of schedule. So that was cool.
Nice.
And then if you look at the years I've been actively wrestling, um, I think the first year I didn't really. Okay, so the first year started in 2022 and then obviously finished in 2023. I had already had a title in that first year. Now, the second year was 2023, 2024, and I still had, a title and then dropped it. Now, I look at the next year, 2024 to 2025, and I'm not going to play spoiler alert, but like I have my eyes on a bunch of different championships.
Mm.
And if I could play, Nostradamus or have like a crystal ball,
Mhm.
by the end of 2025, you're going to see me with multiple championships.
Wow.
Um, so like you can kind of hang your hat on that. Every year I've been in actively wrestling, I've had a championship, and there's people that go their whole careers without getting one at all. I've been in multiple steel cage matches. People go their whole careers without being in one. So
Oh
there's
wow.
certain things that like I do take pride in and set goals and reaching them and attaining them. But like I said, like there's certain things that I need to work on if I want to take my character, my work to the next level. And one of the big goals is to get signed to a television contract. So until that really becomes a reality, that's what I'm striving to do.
You're working, grinding, doing the drives, doing what you got to do, getting in the reps, getting more eyes seen on Johnny Pierce, all of that, working. And you've already said it probably 3 times now. At least you can admit you have weak spots. There's always room, and in wrestling and most sports really, but wrestling, to me, it seems like it's this never-ending uh, universe. I mean, there's always learning to be learned. To be learned. There's always something to be learned out there.
One of my
So I,
trainers, one of my former trainers, I can't say his name because he got canceled.
oh,
He used to say that it was like a big jigsaw puzzle,
okay,
and every day you're getting like a brand new piece, and you never really finish putting the jigsaw puzzle together until you like hang up your boots and decide that that's enough wrestling for yourself. But like
right.
they say in wrestling, never say never, you know. And if you do retire and come back, guess what you're getting? More jigsaw pieces to add to that never-ending puzzle.
Yeah. Excuse me, because as Mr. Pierce is saying, stating right here, boys and girls, excuse me, every time you go into a match, may it be 5 minutes, may it be 7, 12, 20, an hour Broadway, 2 out of 3 falls, a cage match. No matter what the match is, and I'm not a professional athlete or a wrestler, believe me, but been around a minute, and I kind of feel, and maybe Mr. Pierce can correct me if I'm wrong, every single match, there may be just a smidge of knowledge that you didn't catch from the other one, or from your opponent's lack of knowledge, if you will, sometimes on the other side. And you're like, okay, this kid did this and that and blah, blah, blah. I know, but then you kind of, every single match, I feel again, Mr. Pierce, am I wrong on this? You get something from it, correct?
You're not wrong. It doesn't even have to be a match. Anytime you're on a wrestling show in any vicinity, in any capacity, even if you're not on the show and you're helping out backstage, it's all a learning experience. It's all, you know, if you're not there and taking it in live, whether you're a part of the show or not, you can't really get this. You can't really gain that. Um, just like you said, it doesn't matter what kind of match it is. It doesn't matter who your opponent is. It doesn't matter how many opponents there are. How many, you know what I mean? What I try to do is I try to do like at least one thing different each time. That way,
Okay.
hey, I tried this and it worked, so I'm gonna keep doing it. Or I tried this and it didn't work, so I'm not gonna do it again. And as you said before, sometimes your opponents will make a mistake and goof up, and that is a learning experience in itself. And what they used to say about Ric Flair, that he would be able to work a broomstick. So even if you're unhappy with the amount of time you've got on a show, or what the promoter has asked you to do on that show, go and wrestle this person, or you don't have a match tonight, but you're getting involved in this story, just make the most of it. Like that's what we're supposed to do, right?
I feel you have an excellent attitude and an excellent approach. You've already been around for a couple minutes here, so you've already gained some of this knowledge. And I feel right now, the way you've just explained that to us, the fans, you have a great attitude and a great approach to the industry right now. It's what can I do to help you make your event better, no matter what it be, you know? So I applaud you for your approach and your attitude, sir. Excellent. Um, you spoke of a different kind of match. It kind of made me pop inside because it's an old school thing and it still
Yeah.
makes the fans pop like none other. is a steel cage match. Talk to us, the fans, because we're not stepping in there. That's why we like to watch you guys and girls step in there. Talk to us, the fans, on the major differences between a standard match and getting in the confines of this thing that they call the steel cage, please.
Where do I even start?
There is a lot to unpack. There is, but you don't have to give us all. Just some of it.
You go out there for a regular wrestling match. There's already enough. There's already enough things that could go wrong. There's already enough complications. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. But when you add the element of the steel cage, I wouldn't consider it like a workaround by any means, but it's just another thing to look out for. It's another dangerous thing. If you're not on your game and you're inside the cage, something not only could go wrong, something most likely will go wrong. I've heard stories, you've seen videos, you've seen pictures of people going inside one of those structures and not coming out the same way. They lost a piece of them. They've suffered an injury. There's all sorts of things that can happen. So it's not something that should be taken lightly. And if you get the opportunity to be inside one, you better prepare. You better prepare for that mentally, emotionally, physically. Like getting locked inside that thing, it's you, it's someone else, and whoever else is in the match, and the referee. But unless someone gets creative and tries to find a way inside, it's a dangerous place to be. And it can kind of, if you allow it to, it can kind of take control. It can kind of take over you. So I would say if anyone needs some advice before getting inside one, go in with an open mind. Try to clear your head and really wrap yourself around the situation at hand. I get a kick out of it because I do enjoy mixed martial arts and like UFC. So it gives me that moment where it's not a regular match. I'm really locked inside a cage with another human being. And I think the character Johnny Pierce kind of thrives on those rare opportunities where it's me, it's you, it's whoever else is in here, and ain't nobody else coming in here really. Like I said, you can get creative and find ways to get inside the cage. Some people, I'm not that kind of person, but some people will climb up the cage and scale it. You won't find me doing that. Then you cage door. Now, if you get creative, you can open that cage door, but I wouldn't recommend anyone who's not a part of that match come inside that cage, because once you do, you're you're inside a steel cage, bunch of professional wrestlers, and that's not really where you want to
be. No. Well, I appreciate all of that. That was actually beautiful, and excellent advice for an aspiring wrestler or a wrestler that's currently active and has yet to be in that environment. Excellent advice. I appreciate that so much. Have you ever had, because when you're talking about scaling the cage or trying to get in, and once you're in there for good. Have you ever had any weird or crazy fan interactions, if you will, in that kind of scenario? Not specifically a cage, but trying to get in the ring or trying to hit you or something stupid like that.
If I walk around and I start jarring and just being kind of a dick, I can get a rise out of somebody. And I guess recently, as of like 4 or 5 months ago, somebody took a swipe at me, but I already had my back turned and I didn't really pay attention to it. And Selena Kate was walking me to the ring, and we went out, did the deal, went back through the curtain, and she said to me, "Did you notice that fan that took a swing at you?" And I was like, "No, I didn't notice that." And she goes, "I did." I said, "Lucky I didn't notice it."
Because things would have got Cold hard truth right there, boy. Right on the spot. Um, Now that you brought her up, I was going to be bringing her up, but you have yourself a valet nowadays. Please introduce us, the fans, to your valet that you've got going on nowadays.
I mean, it's more of like a business agreement where
Oh,
I would say he's the Hellcat Selena Hakate. And so I kind of do the bidding. Uh, if Selena wants somebody to get beat up, a snap of the fingers, and I'm almost in like a transient state where I can't really stop. I can't really stop until the job is done. And don't tell her I said this, but she kind of controls what I say and what I do.
shh, it's just between us. Um,
If she jump, I say how high.
we talk on STP presentation, the gear, how you look coming through the curtain, how you're giving us the signals. I gotta say,
Yeah.
yourself along now with Selena, looking fantastic coming through that curtain, my friend. You look big. She looks amazing. You seem to have a good thing going on here with this dynamic with the business arrangement.
Yeah. We try. We know what we provide and bring to the table. So if we can go out there and entertain the crowd, make the crowd hot, then mission accomplished. And I think we accomplish that every single time we go out, whether it's together or separate.
Well, I know we don't get to see each other, like I stated earlier. Could you give us kind of a where are you located? Because I'm in like the Bristol, Connecticut area, and I know that's quite far from you. What area are you in? Just for the fans for demographic.
Central Massachusetts. The last time we connected, I was living up in New Hampshire, but we moved to Central Massachusetts, and in the fall, I'm going to be getting my Connecticut reps in, so I'm hoping to see you more often.
Oh, really? Oh, that should be interesting. Yes. Thank you for that tidbit.
Moving back to this area was kind of a no-brainer. Kind of like it's hard when you're first coming up because you really don't know the lay of the land and the how things go. But you get talking to people, you get meeting people, and you realize like this is kind of funny. It's a laughable moment. I had no idea that if I just said I was interested in something, I could just show up. So I know at the dojo, Test of Strength, they do the tape. So I've done it once before, and I'm gonna start doing them now. I live closer, and all I gotta do is say I'm interested in coming, and then show up.
I like that. For me personally, because again, I don't get to see you often. It's been a minute since I've seen you. We were doing the Shut Up and Wrestles in Holyoke for a bit there. You were kind of mixed up with the I you were mixed up with the Buffs, and I almost wore a Buff Dad shirt tonight. I really did. I was this close to wearing a Buff
Then you'd
Dad
be
shirt.
too sexy for your shirt. Too sexy, it hurt.
Which brings me to the shirt that I'm wearing. Recently purchased. One DJ.
Notice that. That is a terrible shirt.
That was my question. Do you have any history with one that usually, because it is a recent purchase, and I'm not a very pissed off person, but when I get in a really bad mood, I throw this sucker on, or Jared Silverclay. I don't mind putting that garbage on when I'm in a bad mood. But one DJ Powers, you have history. Obviously, from your reaction, of one DJ Powers. Do you have some kind of history?
Yes and no. We crossed paths a few times, but in terms of like anything in ring, I would be one Rumble match, and I haven't had the pleasure of putting a whipping on him yet, and I'm licking my chops for the day it happens because, you know, I feel like I could probably throw him outside the ring from inside the ring really easily.
Hey, he's a more of a slender athlete, you know. I mean, I'm a thinner guy, and I wouldn't want to get thrown by no one, Mr. Pierce. Oh no, let's not even go there. Oh hell no. We were talking championships and you doing your thing, and it seems like you're spreading your wings and you're getting more eyes, and now you're talking maybe getting some CT reps in and getting more eyes down here on one cold hard truth. Now that brings me to a topic that I've been very curious on talking with you because it's very, very recent. And it is a culmination of something that will happen in November.
Yeah, I
So,
know.
okay, if you could indulge me, I'm not a great reader. I only have one brain cell. But if you can indulge me, just let me read through this real quick because I have my other device. Yes, people, I have more than a phone. Imagine that shit.
Oh,
Northeast Championship Wrestling was at VFW Post 2017 in Dedham, Mass. Now, this is 2 days ago on their face page, if you will. Last night's NCW's 2024 Big City Rumble was one for the record books as hungry, as hungry and upcomers came far and wide for their shot at Rumble Glory and the guaranteed title match at NCW WrestleFest. Let's see, 10, carry to 13, trying to multiply 7 divided by 13. That is X1X19. WrestleFest 19, that would be, I would imagine, their WrestleMania, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. I continue. The NCW Heavyweight Champion, Mike Montero, near and dear to my heart. I love me some Mike Montero. I can't even stress how much I love Mike Montero as I continue. And New England Champion, Stephen Lust. Yeah, again, he's pissed on me a couple times, not literally, but verbally. I love me some Mr. Lust. I don't know what it is. He can kick shit on me, and I don't care. Love Mr. Lust. As I continue, we're in the midst of a match of the year contender when Johnny Pierce showed up. As I continue, ruining the match and putting both men through the commentary table. Pierce would go on to decimate. Oh, it's a strong word. Decimate the competition in the Rumble match. Not comma. See, that's what I'm saying. Rumble match. Uh-oh. It's going dim. But an injured Lust would enter at number 40, fighting through the pain to battle Pierce. Montero himself would show up for some payback on the cold hard truth. And in the end, both Lust and Pierce would eliminate each other and leaving the VFW in confusion over who the winner was. In the end, NCW owner J.C. Marks announced both men as winners, and both will challenge, holy fuck shit, Mike Montero for the NCW title at WrestleFest. NCW returns in 2 weeks for NCW Thursday Night Out Wrestling in Taunton, Mass, and returns at Dedham on October 25th, NCW Live, ! Period. So, Mr. Pierce, I read all of that for one purpose. What the fuck is going on? What are you doing?
It's funny. I don't talk at NCW. I don't say a word. I have a mouthpiece, Mr. Kevin Castro. So why should I say anything? I don't have to say a word. But now,
which
on your podcast.
Okay, I hate to pause and interrupt. Please keep that thought very valid. I did see your mouthpiece on a promo, and let me tell you, as a fan, that was fucking fantastic. Even You know when I really popped? When you got arrested. That was the best part. I mean, no. That wasn't the best part.
Unpaid parking tickets.
Please continue with your thought about your mouthpiece and you don't speak.
Pay your parking tickets, people. Pay your parking tickets. Otherwise, they're coming for
Oh, that was fantastic.
703. So yeah, he's not here to talk for me. So allow myself to introduce myself.
Okay.
You got the name of. Let me start with this. You got the name of the show wrong. First of all.
Oh, wait. I
heard
seen
you
it in your promo.
You call it the Big City Rumble.
It was the NCW's 2024 Pierce City Rumble.
Now we're talking. So at least you got the name of the show right this time. I told my manager to tell NCW management the same thing I'm going to tell you now. You asked me, what the hell was I doing, right? I did what needed to be done.
Wow.
That's all. I did what needed to be done. Okay? That needed to be done.
Okay. If you say so.
Hey.
Tables?
I'm going to be in a triple threat match for the NCW Heavyweight Championship, and I did what needed to be done to get it.
And here you are in the championship picture. Now, that does culminate at WrestleFest 19. That is in November, correct?
Yeah, it's my third. It'll be my third WrestleFest, and I haven't had much luck at WrestleFest. I'm 0-2. My first one was a loss to Teddy Goods. I know he's retiring soon.
Yeah.
Second one was a loss to the old school cool Corey Michael.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now I have Kevin Castro as my business associate, my mouthpiece, my manager. He's really helping to guide and mold me. We've been on a tear all year. We haven't really. I've never been pinned or submitted, as far as I can tell.
Oh, Kevin Castro, correct? I want to make sure I got that correct.
Yeah, you better get it right because you think you don't want me. You don't want to mess with him. He knows people. He got friends in high places.
Okay. I only got friends in low places. I'm sorry. That's
See?
I don't know. Oh shit. So, you've been really, again, spreading your wings, getting some eyes on one Johnny Pierce. NCW. Is this a place that you've been frequenting here and building up your repertoire at NCW?
Yeah, after these Thursday night shows that are brand new that they're trying out, there's one on the 12th and then there's another on the 26th in Taunton at Platinum City Gaming. So after those two shows and we hit the month of October, I'll be an NCW regular 2 years straight. Yep.
Nice. Excellent. Because that's how you do it. Get yourself in there. May it be a match, may it be helping to set up the ring or what have you, or what can I, like we said, what can I do for you, kind of thing. So I'm very happy to see one Johnny Pierce not only evolve as an athlete with his presentation, his in ring. You have a mouthpiece being one Mr. Castro. You have Selena by your side. You've got a lot of pieces. There's a lot of nuances, moving parts, if you will, around one Johnny Pierce. So for me personally, excellent seeing it all happen because, again, you're with the likes of the Bucks. Oh, go ahead.
This weekend, I just started the Pierce World Order. So if there anybody looking to join the PWO, you send them my way.
Huh. We've spoken what the hard cold truth means. What is this Pierce? Obviously, Johnny Pierce, Pierce World Order. But what is it? You must have a message of some kind.
We're just here to take over. I mean, I'm
Okay.
at the forefront. I'm at the helm. Who wouldn't want to get behind me as I steamroll through the competition? You could just ride my coattails and pick up the pieces. Now, that heavyweight title, that's mine, right? But in terms of like anything else, yeah, you could run it by me like, hey, what about this championship? How about these tag championships? How about this? How about that? And I'll see how I'm feeling that day. You know, maybe I feel like, you know, you've earned it. You deserve a piece of the pie. Go ahead, get that tag championship. You know, go ahead, get that, New England championship. But when it comes to the main event and the top prize and being the best, that's all backseat, man. I'm the driver of the car. Anybody that wants to join the PWO, it's Pierce World Order, and Johnny Pierce comes first. You can't eat
So
it.
you can't eat a pie without Johnny Pierce. So
First
are you
slice.
looking? Are you looking uh, for the world to join? Are you looking just for maybe 3 or 4 or 5 people, or
No,
what are we
this is
talking?
this is world. This is worldwide. This is worldwide. Look, if you fit the bill, if you got what it takes to don the shirt and be a part of the PWO, you
Okay.
know, who am
Yeah.
I to say?
No.
I don't care where you live. I don't care where you work. If it's East Coast, West Coast, up north, down south, here, there, this world order is worldwide.
All right. Uh, does anybody know, besides you saying it right now, that there is a PWO? Did they know there's?
Of
Are there any
course.
applications?
I was in North Bennington, Vermont at World of Hurt Wrestling, and that's
Oh.
where I started the Pierce World Order. I
Okay.
have the Hellcat Selena Hakate by my side. She's the first honorary member. Um, I offered a position to my opponent before the match. He declined, disrespectfully declined. So I had to beat it out of him. I had to beat him up, beat him to a bloody pulp. Um, I'm in talks with a certain politician about
Ah.
maybe coming aboard, but he's there's a lot of paperwork that comes with a guy like that.
there, there is.
A lot of loopholes, and I just don't know if I have the time or the patience for something like that. Uh,
There is a
Plus
lot of red.
the campaign trail. How do I know he's going to devote his time to the PWO when
Right. And if there's anything, the PWO does not need a paper trail by any stretch.
we want to be off the grid?
You were talking coasts, if you will.
Yeah,
Are you familiar with the
I am.
South
I
Coast
am the
Signing Crew?
SCSC.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Greg. Shout out to Greg. He made a sign for me. Johnny Pierce the Veil. That was pretty funny. And then I'm gonna pierce the veil after this match.
One, my guy Greg is something else with the creativity. Holy shit! I know you see plenty of signs when Greg shows up at these shows. They've got to make you pop just a little bit, Mr. Pierce.
Yeah, one of my favorites is Dora the Explorer, and it's a certain Poppy Sloppy I call Poppy Sloppy Diego Alvarez. I had to share the ring with the real pretty Poppy, the real Poppy.
Oh.
Yeah, I know you see him a lot down there.
I do, and I did see that he made his way up to said areas.
He outdanced me in a dance-off.
Well, he's pretty poppy, man. I mean, come on.
Whatever. Nobody outdances the throwback truth at a dance party.
Oh, really? What a great segue. Because I don't take fan questions. That's never been my gig. But I was posed. I should ask you a question. You are familiar with one Lights Out Lee Miller, yeah?
Yeah, that's not even like a gimmick, neither. He knocked my lights out.
Oh, wow. Well, he's kind of a big dude, and you're a big dude, so two bulls going at it. Someone's got to get knocked out.
I mean, literally, I couldn't see out of one of my eyes. You can ask him about
Okay, I'll ask him about that. But
turn the
he
lights
wanted
out.
me he wanted me to ask you about a dance off.
Yeah, I mean, in the same match I'm referring to, where he quite literally tried to put my lights out by blinding me permanently. Uh, before that moment, I had challenged him to a dance off, and he had declined. So then, I had to kick the crap out of him. Then later on, he had a tag partner, and I had a tag partner, and me and my tag partner and Selena challenged, the other guys to a dance off. And after the crowd egged him on, he whipped out, I think he said a reverse worm, and kind of stole the show a little bit. He did make the joke that if he got caught dancing, it would start raining outside. So luckily for us, it did not start raining. There was no downpour. The show went off without any hit.
He does say that. I try not to dance too much because I don't want it to rain.
You know what? It was a quick reverse worm. There wasn't a lot of duration to it. He did a couple, and then that was it.
Oh,
So
see,
maybe a light shower.
a little drizzle from the reverse worm.
Yeah.
Oh shit. uh, Mr. Pierce, we've talked about where you're, NCW a little here. We've been kind of on that. Could you tell us maybe some other promotions that we could see that you've been frequenting, if at all, if possible?
Sure thing. The one we were just talking about was North Atlantic Wrestling Association, which abbreviated to NAWA.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Huntley runs a lot of these shows. The summer circuit was mainly comprised of different fair shows, whether it would have been Ossipee, and if I didn't pronounce that right, tough. But good luck spelling that too, Ossipee. The Ossippee, something like that. So Ossipee, Bangor, which I've heard people say banger, but
Banger.
Bangor, and most recently Skowhegan, where the Skowhegan State Fair is, I guess, the longest running fair in the United States.
Yeah.
So that was 10 days of wrestling. I was there for 6 out of 10 of those, and he's got one coming up in Farmington, and I'll be there for the third year in a row. I'd like to do more for NAWA, especially when they go to Gino's Rock Club in Portland. I'm gonna make my way up to Maine more. There's a new promotion called and not new in terms of like, they're new, but new to me. Maine Premier Wrestling. I think it's MPW.
Yeah.
So I'll be, in contact with working with them
Okay.
shortly. Um, so just trying to get my name up to that Maine state more often, and just try to get as many reps up in Maine as possible.
Okay.
Um, I'm looking at making a return to test the strength training days in
Okay.
Connecticut come the fall. Uh, Primarily speaking, outside of Northeast Championship Wrestling (NCW), I've kind of taken over the state of Vermont. So if there's a wrestling show in Vermont, Johnny Pierce is a part of it.
Okay.
World of Hurt Wrestling (WOH), ETWA Eastern Townships Wrestling Association, and Green Mountain Wrestling (GMW) are the three that I frequent.
Is
Uh,
Green Mountain? I hate to interrupt. Is Green Mountain newer?
no, so Green Mountain was really popular in the 90s and I think early 2000s, and then they took a long hiatus. So this is just like a rebirth,
Okay.
not new.
Okay. I'm sorry
I
to
will say
interrupt.
they've been going strong for about a year and a half, so that's why people are like, oh, that must be new, but no, they were running things maybe in like the 80s and 90s and maybe early 2000s.
I see Jonathan Gresham against Landon
Yeah,
Hale. Are you shitting me?
no,
That's
so
gonna be.
I don't know for a fact if he's working Landon Hale anywhere, but over at Green Mountain, he's got two opponents for his trip. So Sigma,
Oh,
Sigma,
Sigma. Yes, yes,
and
yes.
Strong Spirit Gabriel Sky.
Oh, wow. I haven't seen Gabriel in a while, too. Wow, okay.
Yeah, that's
All
gonna be
right.
this weekend in Barton, Vermont, and Barry, Vermont. We mainly operate out of the Barry, Vermont location.
Okay.
I love that venue. That was the venue
Excellent.
that I defeated Diego Alvarez inside the steel cage. We haven't been back to that venue since the steel cage match.
Oh, wow.
So I'm excited to go back. You know,
Okay. You've mentioned,
I get to throw around his new tag partner. I don't know if you saw that, but Guapo Suave is
yes.
the new tag team that's turning a lot. Well, I got to beat the crap out of Diego. Now I get to beat the crap out of Loverboy Lexizano. So I'm as giddy as a schoolgirl right now.
You know, it just all fed itself right there because I was going to ask you. I'm not very familiar with Mr. Alvarez. I called him. Oh, shit. He's going to kill me for this. I called him Diego Sanchez when I very first saw him. And
Yeah, I mean, like, hey, when you think about Dirty Sanchez, you got to think Diego.
he gave me a little, he gave me some heat for it. So I learned my lesson on the first time. But I was going to ask you about Guapo Suave. They are kind of becoming a thing.
A lot of this, not a lot of backing it up. Not a lot of backing it up. Just like to talk all this, talk all that. We're so good. We're so great. And then I don't see it. I don't see it.
Okay.
You wonder why I had to break away that cold hard guapo tag. You wonder why. And then you're like, oh, I see what he was doing there.
Oh, my goodness. Can I go all the way back to the very first night I ever met you?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that the other day.
I told this story.
I'll start it off. You can kind of take it where you want. It was
Please.
Atlantic Pro Wrestling, Newburyport, Massachusetts. It was, man, I want to say like September, October of 2021.
Now, we went up there. I was with a different partner, and we went up and spent like the kind, not really the weekend, but we grabbed a hotel, and we wanted to at least be able to have. Didn't want to drive home after the show, so that was my first time at APW.
Yeah.
And I believe, almost positive, that was her first time at APW. So we're standing in line, and I see this big MFer working the door. And I look over and I go, I'm going to fuck with him. And she goes, of course you are. So we make our way up. We make our way up. And I started saying some shit about how gorgeous he is and what a big hunk and a catch he is and all of this shit. And he kind of threw at me, you better watch yourself. I know who you are, Kincaid. And I stepped back. And I was like, oh shit, you know of me? He goes, oh yeah. And then he proceeded to say something about I was in a rumble and I got to throw one of your favorites out, if I'm not mistaken, 1-2 buff. And you said that you threw him out like a piece of trash. And we instantly became friends. I think I jumped up to your shoulders.
I'll modify your story a little bit. So they were responsible for eliminating me out of a rumble by cheating.
Damn.
I had 2 buff where I wanted them up in the air, right? So all you got to do after that, throw him over the top rope, he's out. Then I go after Buff Dad. But lo and behold, pun intended, that when I had 2 buff in the air, Buff Dad Senior, and I say senior because he should be in a senior center, came up from behind with the low blow. So I had to drop his son like a bad habit. And the 2 of them, after hitting me in the spot where the sun don't shine, threw me over the top rope. And I confidently think, had that never happened, I would have won that match. And then my career would have been different.
Started off shaky because of the damn buffs. I can feel that.
So that's how we bonded, was our hatred for Buff Inc.
The hatred, yes.
No good, slimy bastards.
I remember it just a smidge differently. So Mr. Pierce he gave me the cold hard truth right there, boys and girls. You see how that just happened right there? But it didn't matter because again, we bonded over the hatred. That's all that mattered, over the hatred of the Buffs. Good shit, my man. Good shit. I know we've spoken of a lot of promotions that you're at now, and we spoke of maybe a little bit of the future of.
There was one more I forgot to mention, or excuse me, like two more.
Please.
Supernova Wrestling. I recently added them to my calendar.
Okay.
Over the summer, we're picking things up in a couple weeks, and then RWA was an addition this year, Renegade Wrestling Alliance down in Rhode Island. So
yeah.
I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. I've done some work with Top Rope Promotions.
Okay.
But then, it's like for a few months I'll work for them, and then a few months off, and it's not as consistent. But I'm hoping that that picks up again. Yeah, I really don't hope. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody, but that pretty much rounds it out.
Well, you've been a very busy Johnny Pierce, seemingly, and that kind of brings me. I know you're always looking. The athletes are always looking to fill their calendar. Are there? I would imagine there are, but could you maybe just throw us 2 or 3 promotions that you may have in your sights that you'd really like to add to your calendar?
Yeah, I mean, I already mentioned I'm going to be in talks with Main Premier Wrestling. There seems to be a lot of interest there and bringing me aboard.
Okay.
I would say I'm looking at Pro Wrestling Grind. So if I can just get the dates to line up with my schedule and get over there, show some face, and then maybe get an opportunity thrown my way. I'm looking at Pro Wrestling Grind for sure. Yeah, I mean, anything down in that area, Connecticut. I was told to reach out to Coliseum Pro, but they're running on some show dates that like I already have someplace else that I'll be working, so the dates aren't lining up right. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at a lot of promotions. I'm looking all over the place. I'm scouring. I'm trying to figure out like what works, like in terms of my schedule and my availability. Who I pay real close attention. We mentioned it earlier. I forget what it was, but I don't know. I think people don't think I'm like a smart guy or something, or that I'm paying close attention. Like I keep my ear to the ground. Like I'm paying real close attention to the way promoters run shows and who they've got and who they don't got. And in my mind, where do I best serve? What best serves me, and where do I best serve the company? So we'll see. I mean, 2025 is going to be a crazy year, and you won't be surprised to see me popping up at places that you wouldn't normally see me. And I'm going to be reaching out to different companies, sending footage, sending clips, trying to figure out where I want to go to New York and New Jersey. And I've never been to those states before. I'm eyeing Pennsylvania. I know there's some companies out there that I'd like to work for. So we'll see what happens,
There's a shitload in NY, being the city and the state, and Pennsylvania. And I know I could name a ton probably in the New York City and New York State area. But when you mention Pennsylvania, I know a lot of people come to their mind PPW. But there is a place called the Sanctuary in Pennsylvania. I don't know who it's run by or any of that good stuff. But the reason why it's always popped me as a fan is it's this old church, and it's turned into like a production thing, and they do stunt performances or something, but they do wrestling there, and the lights and the ambiance and the pictures that come out of this place, Mr. Pierce, is unbelievable. So
Hmm.
I just figured I'd throw you the sanctuary in Pennsylvania if you're poking around in that area. Now, again, I'm not familiar, but I've seen the likes of Dirtbag Dan and Mike Skyrose and Flash Waller, and I've seen some familiar faces go through the sanctuary. Very, very aesthetically pleasing to the eye. That whole production thing that they've got going on makes the athletes look like $1 million. Really does.
Yeah, I don't really need help in that department, let me tell you.
Yeah, who the hell am I talking to? Yeah, the gun
Hey,
show. Yes.
I'm in the best shape of my life right now. I'm gonna be 35 at the end of the year. Don't tell nobody that. Don't tell nobody that. Tell nobody that. But yeah, best shape of my life, man.
Good. Um, Glad to see everything with Johnny Pierce. Pushing and getting to those next levels. Now, I'm sure I've asked you before because I want to ask every person that I have on here, but sometimes the answers could change. So I'm going to
Yep.
ask you a question that I have probably previously asked you. With all of this theme going on, I'm assuming the answer is yes.
Yep.
Is Johnny Pierce looking to do this long term, make this a lifestyle, make this a livelihood for himself and his family, or are you kind of just looking to stay on the independent level here?
Like I said, I'm not a spring chicken by any means. Put my body through a lot over the years. We talk about bump cards and whatnot. I mean, there are people that are successfully doing this in their 50s and 60s. So, me being as old as I am, yeah, I do want to do this long term, career wise. If I do it right, if I'm smart, if I work smarter, not harder, if I'm smart with my body, if I'm smart with my habits and my lifestyle and the things I'm doing to maintain and build on, then yeah, I would like to do this long term. So the goal is to do this until I really physically can't anymore. And
Okay.
after the first 2 years, I thank my lucky stars. I haven't had an injury that has sidelined me from doing this for 2 years. And I
Excellent.
think one of the big driving factors or driving forces is yoga. So
Okay.
anybody who is feeling those bumps and suffering those injuries and has to take time and spend time on the shelf, have a really long look in the mirror and figure out if you're doing everything you have to do to allow yourself to get in that ring and be the best version of yourself.
Okay. Uh, More excellent advice from one Johnny Pierce. You have grown not only as an athlete but as a human here, my friend. Excellent, excellent advice that you're
Well,
giving to
if
us
I can kind of
aspiring.
build, if
Okay.
I can build on, uh, this is the first announcement I've made on this. I'm filming a, a 90-day documentary on this journey of mine over the span of 3 months. So it's like I think
Huh.
people are going to see because I don't know if like I wake up in the morning and people think, oh, he just looks like that. He always has looked like that. He's big, he's strong, he's this, he's that, and it's like, man, I don't know. I used to be a short, fat dude. I hit a late growth spurt, and for the past 7.5 years, I've been hitting these weights and the weight rooms and the gyms and doing the cardio and trying to get stronger, trying to put on muscle mass, working on my form inside the weight room with different exercises, studying up on nutrition and learning more about protein and supplements and creatine and you know it doesn't happen overnight. So this 3 month 90-day journey of mine, I want to put it out by early 2025. Every so often throw an episode up. This is
Okay.
what happened this day, and then at the end of the 90 days, people will see just what it takes. The hard work that goes into it. And different strokes for different folks, but you know, I have to. Fans have come to expect when I'm on the show they kind of have come to expect something from me, right? I can't just roll out of bed that day and go to the show. I have to do things to prepare myself to be the best version of myself that day. Being my size, 6'6", 304 pounds. That's not something that I joke about. Like I'm every little bit of that. Um, Shoe size 14 and a half, 15. You know, it takes a lot to run this machine. You know what I mean? So um, my goal by the end of it is if one person can watch this footage, this documentary, and be like, you know what, I'm gonna try something different. Look at this guy. This is what this guy did. So maybe I won't do everything on this documentary, but like maybe I can make a tweak here or a tweak there and see what happens. The fruits of your labor, I promise you, like you will reap the fruits of your labor.
Wow. Boys and girls, everything Mr. Pierce has said probably within the last 3-ish or so minutes. First off, congratulations on wanting to do something like this, because not only does it give maybe inspiration to someone out there, but it also really, it's a tool and a vessel to kind of reflect on yourself and see.
Oh my God. I tell you what, it is holding myself accountable. There are
Yes.
certain days where I don't want to, work out, or I don't want to eat right, or, you know, but then I think like, well, if I don't show myself, you know, working out this day, or if I film the documentary and I'm like, feel like taking the day off. I rested on the couch, took a long 3 hour nap. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing?
But everything that he said in that little time frame, those are the sacrifices that we always talk about in STP. Yes, you miss time with your family, with the choir, for your children, the choruses, and Christmas parties and such, and just as examples. But the sacrifices that the athletes really make are in that gym and working on their diet. He mentioned supplements and creatine and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I had for breakfast this morning? A
What
bacon
is that?
cheeseburger, because I don't give a
Hey,
fuck.
hey, you know what? We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. So if you want to have a cheeseburger for breakfast, who am I to give you grief? I, I have I had steak, rice, and I think like asparagus, or yeah, something like that. And that's not my usual breakfast. I pretty much had a lunch for breakfast or a dinner for breakfast, but I said, you know what? I don't mind having steak for breakfast. It's kind of nice.
But yeah, that's always been, how do I use, part of the mystique of wrestlers themselves is everything they have to do to prepare their bodies. And not only that, and I know we've spoken about this, but the mental part. And like we were even saying about the cage matches,
Yeah.
keep an open mind and get yourself prepared.
I'll say
These are the
this. You
sacrifices.
talked about diet, right? Like if you are a wrestler who's looking to, improve the presentation that we talk about with, want to have muscles and build strength, you're killing yourself if your diet's not right. So you can go to the gym, the weight room, or the fitness center, or the club, or whatever, and put in the work there. But if you go into the kitchen and you're eating a bunch of crap, then you're basically telling, you know what I mean, ruining everything you just did. Um,
Yeah, you're just kind of bringing it back.
when it comes to preparation, like if it's a steel cage, if it's a Hell in a Cell, if it's a Rumble, if it's a this or a that, if you're doing the things that you like, if you're holding yourself accountable, if you're doing the things necessary to get into that position, then what do you have to worry about? The confidence level that I bring when my music hits and I go through the curtain, that's there because I literally have done everything I've had to do to be in that moment. I don't have to question, well, what am I doing here? Why am I about to go through this steel cage match or whatever it is? Uh, I wake up the day of a show, and 99 out of 100 times, or whatever, 9 out of 10 times, it don't matter. There might be a day where it's like, you know what? I got a lot going on. I'm listening to my body. I got to take a rest day. I'm just going to go to the show fresh, right? But I still know in the back of my head, I did everything I had to do to earn that rest day, so I'm good to go. But
Right.
most of the time, I'm hitting the weights before the show, right? I'm doing some kind of cardio just to get, get my blood
Yeah.
pumping. I'm not sitting around.
Right.
So that when I get to the show, I'm good. I don't have to worry about, oh man, what's the stipulation? Oh, how many minutes do we have? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. So as long as you're doing the things you should be doing and
Uh,
staying away from
Jo-
trouble,
Johnny Pierce doesn't get ready; he stays ready, if you will.
yeah, referee will ask me, "Are you ready?" And I'll either say what you just said or I'll say born ready, because that's the mindset. The mindset is you don't have to worry about getting ready if you try to stay ready. Now, I understand, like, not everybody's perfect. Sure. But if you try your damn best to stay ready, you don't have to worry about getting ready because you're already ready.
Absolutely, my man.
I think we talked
Uh,
about that a podcast or two ago.
we have, and again, I have to bring it back to you seem to be in a really, really solid place right now
I
in
mean,
your wrestling career.
yes and no, DK. Like, I enjoy coming on STP. You're a good brother. You're a good guy. I'm so happy that you're back in wrestling.
Huh.
We really miss you when you're gone.
I appreciate that.
But like things aren't what they always seem to be. I'm happy today, but there's been days recently as soon as what's today? Monday?
It is Monday,
Like
unfortunately.
a week ago, I was in a terrible mood. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So you're catching me on a good day. There's been a lot of days where like I'm generally speaking a happy dude. It takes a lot to kind of tick me off.
Hmm.
And there's been a few string of days over this summer that have really put me out of my comfort zone. It really challenges me to be mature and be professional. And
Hmm.
I'm not always making the right decisions. Sometimes I put my foot in my mouth. Sometimes I don't always say the right things. Sometimes I don't always do the right things. And I've pissed a lot of people off along the way.
Well, I'm sure I've kind of got myself in a little bit of trouble with my mouth as well. Okay, I think we all do. Uh, life lessons, if you will.
Yeah, I gotta
Kind of thing.
grow from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, Mr. Pierce, I can talk to you. I don't know. I remember. I know we've always been kind of cool, but this one's really comfortable for me. I really, really enjoyed our conversation today, and I could keep going and going and going. But I know I got shit to do, and I know you got shit to do. We've been going for like an hour 10 here. With I mean, just a ton that we've really squashed.
I'm so sorry for hopping on late. I tried to get
Oh,
an Skype account back and active, and it was giving me all these technical difficulties, and I was like, damn,
oh.
I'm 10 minutes late, and I felt so bad.
But that's what a reverse worm does. It kind of alters time a little bit. It's okay. It,
Yeah.
it's fine. Mr. Pierce, we have talked so many things. Um, my heart is warm for everything you've got going on. And again, I know we all have our good days and bad days, but from what I see from a distance, and doing what you're doing, you look like right now you're having a hell of a time in wrestling, having a lot of
Oh, it's
fun.
fun. It's so fun.
And I just love everything that you're doing out there because it looks like you're enjoying what you're doing. Once you get to a point where it's like, I've been there. Believe me, I've been there in music. It's insufferable sometimes, but I'm so happy to see where you're at right now, and it does warm my heart. Um, Mr. Pierce, I could talk to you for hours, but before I let you go,
Yeah.
I would like the boys and girls that don't know who you are. We want to be able to find you on the old socials. So if you could give us your Twitter, your Face page, your Pornhub, whatever you've got to offer, please contribute. Contribute those contribute those
You
handles,
said
please.
boys and girls, and then porn. Socials: Johnny Pierce, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, and Facebook. There's a couple underscores in a couple of those, but if you search Johnny Pierce, more than likely you'll find me. Right. I want to give a quick shout out to one of your previous guests. You had referee Jay Cruz on, so I wanted to give him a quick shout out.
I did. You're aware of Mr.
A buddy
Cruz.
of mine, roughed a couple of my matches now.
Oh, excellent. Yes. Very young talent, just turning 21. He's shy of 21. Young talent, been seeing him getting better and better in the ring.
What happened to your volume?
Excuse me?
Your volumes look like real low.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't done nothing different. I didn't touch nothing. I didn't touch nothing.
Anywho.
Well, thanks for the shout out for one, Jay Cruz. He was an excellent guest on STP. Mr. Pierce, I don't know if you're there or if you are. We're having the technical difficulties at the very tail end is starting to kick our asses.
Yeah.
Well, it was a pleasure having you. Thank you for setting some time aside in your life to hang out with us, the fans. I really do appreciate it, my friend.
STP all the way.
Thank you, my friend. With all of that, some excellent advice from one JP all the way through. Great advice from, another favorite talent that I don't get to see locally, but we might start seeing a little bit more often. This is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and our very special guest, Cold Hard Truth, Johnny Pierce.